She started as a teen singing sensation, a multi-million-dollar pop prodigy.
Why is Britney Spears such a global phenomenon? Pigtails, a schoolgirl outfit, and a locker room. Need I say anything more?
In a quest for normality, she has rebelled against the publicity machine that propelled her into the public eye.
When does she lose her virginity? It was like the whole world was waiting to see this, and I think, it put a lot of pressure on her, and it wasn't the kind of scrutiny she wanted.
Now teetering on the brink of self-destruction, she is struggling to cope with the fame she once sought. Can she ever recover from this latest meltdown?
She hasn't had a life. Can't blame the kid for going off the rails when all she wants is to be normal.
Britney Spears is exposed. A pop phenomenon who sacrificed her childhood in pursuit of the limelight. Exposed will bring you a unique look at Britney Spears' tumultuous life, with exclusive access to the photos that launched 1,000 headlines. February 2007 was to bring us one of the most shocking moments in showbiz history. We had been watching Britney's very public demise gain momentum following her split from K-Fed. She had been spotted splattered in her own vomit, sharing clothes with strippers and crawling out of nightclubs in the early hours of the morning. There had also been rumours that she wanted to get back together with childhood sweetheart Justin Timberlake. However, nothing was to prepare us for where the Britney train wreck would end up next. A small hair salon in LA.
Britney Spears right now has lost the plot. She's gone wild. It just seems like the pressure of stardom has just taken over, and she, you see these pictures in the paper of her and her eyes are just not there. You just seem as though there's nothing behind those eyes. She just looks very, very desperate.
There was rumours that she'd always wanted to get back with Justin. He was this big, big love of her life. And then she's meant to have given him a phone call. And obviously Justin really cares for her, sees that she's going through a hard time, but he's moved on and just said there was no chance of reconciliation. And that's when she apparently just kind of flipped out and went to the salon and decided to shave off all her hair, and that was it.
She sat right by the window, knowing all the paparazzi were outside, then proceeded to shave all her hair off. So people are saying, it's a big publicity stunt for her. She just wanted to sort of get out there. All the stuff she's been doing that's been crazy at the moment has been getting her in the press, but not getting her the massive media attention that she wants.
Britney may have put on a great show for the paps, but it soon became clear that the distressed star was using the press to make a very public plea.
There's every possibility that she wanted people to see her do that, and she wanted people to know that she was in real trouble. Whether she knew she was doing that herself, we'll never know.
It's obviously a cry for help. It's the most stark pictures of a celebrity we've ever seen, and probably the most shocking celebrity pictures of the last 5 years.
I think this has been bubbling up for years. She hasn't had a life. Can't blame the kid for going off the rails when all she wants is to be normal. Been there, done it, over it. I want my life back.
Immediately after the incident, Britney checked herself in and out of rehab several times. Rumours quickly circulated about drug abuse, eating disorders, depression and suicide attempts. Estranged husband Kevin was quick to seize the opportunity to file for emergency custody of their children, pushing Britney even further over the edge.
The reason Britney couldn't stay in rehab at first was because she couldn't admit that she had a problem. And I think often rehab facilities in LA are too much like hotels, so they can kind of check in and out as they want.
First 2 times, I don't think she actually did seriously want help in that real sense. I think she was crying for help, but she actually didn't want to follow things through. And I think the 3rd time she went in, that was when she really, really knew she was in trouble and she wanted to get better, and that's why she'll stay.
Panicking that her children might be taken away from her, a distraught Britney went to try and dissuade Kevin from going to court. Kevin's refusal to answer the door to her was the final straw, and once again, the media was on hand to catch every moment as the star spun spectacularly out of control.
Saw the video where she attacked the car, And it's actually really sad. She's sat in a car and she's clearly upset, and there's just photographers flashing through the window. It kind of goes dark for a while, but then what you can hear is her pleading with the press to stop, pleading with the photographers to leave her alone.
No, guys, please, guys, don't do this.
He was going to take her to court the following day, and he actually pulled out of it. They got a phone call the next morning, his lawyers just saying, you know what, she's not well, we're not going to proceed these court proceedings right now.
I think he's taking things seriously now and actually trying to do the best for Britney and his children, rather than it being just a tug-of-war about money.
Kevin's final stipulation that he would postpone the emergency custody hearing if Britney stayed in rehab portrayed him in a favourable light, following his debauched weekends in Vegas in the final stages of their marriage.
In the very beginning, he was fighting Britney for the alpha role in that relationship, and going to Vegas and hooking up with, lap dancers or partying and stuff was a way for him to assert himself against her.
Escort Vanessa Houlihan is held by many as responsible for Britney and Kevin's breakup. The murky details of her night with K-Fed back in 2005 worked the tabloids into a frenzy.
We just started talking, he was showing me pictures of Britney from his camera phone, and there was just like a brief minute there where he kind of said, if I ever get a divorce, I'm moving to Vegas, and if I wasn't married, we probably would hook up, but we didn't.
Britney eventually filed for divorce in September 2006, sending a text to Kevin citing irreconcilable differences. She finally seemed to be regaining control of her life, and few anticipated the events that were to come. What had happened to the wholesome pop star we all knew and loved? She was the ultimate wholesome child star who grew up in the public eye. So were we really surprised when Britney's belated adolescence took hold? The phenomenon that became Britney Spears first caught the public's attention when she started a rigorous promotional schedule in order to get her name recognized across the United States. Britney was by no means new to the prospect of hard graft, growing up a stage school kid who was both a disciplined and ambitious performer.
Age 8, she was on national TV in a talent competition. But age 11, she auditioned for the Mickey Mouse Club on the Disney Channel, and she managed to last 2 series until the show was canned. After that, she carried on peddling her wares, and age 15, she got a record deal. 15.
Her record company pumped millions of pounds into promoting her, so that it was a foregone conclusion. She'd been working at being a star since she was a kid.
I don't think you could become a global phenomenon without a fair amount of talent, the right management, the kind of pushy mother, being spotted on this talent show, which, don't forget, also gave rise to Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera. I think there was a lot of things working in her favour, and really they all culminated together to catapult her to fame.
Britney was just 17 when she first made a dent in the charts with her first single, Baby One More Time. The single was released at the end of 1998, and it reached pole position in more than 30 countries. The single's success was due to a mixture of savvy songwriting, clever marketing, and that schoolgirl outfit.
Why is Britney Spears such a global phenomenon? Pigtails, a schoolgirl outfit, and a locker room. Need I say anything more?
The interesting thing about the schoolgirl that I see is it's a sort of innocence, but it's clearly Lolita at the same time. And I think this was the image that Britney Spears projected for quite the most part of her career.
Britney was not alone during her meteoric rise to fame. Her boyfriend at the time, who she'd known since her Mickey Mouse Club days, had recently become part of hot new boy band NSYNC, a band who were also capturing the attention of the world's press and driving their female fans wild.
When Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears were on the Mickey Mouse Club, everybody always thought they would get together. I spoke to other Mouseketeers, and they thought they were just right for each other. And the thing about a relationship like theirs was they both knew the business, so they had that in common. I think the problem with their relationship as it progressed was that became all they had in common.
Britney and Justin were the perfect couple. They were young, sexy and talented, and they embodied a dream that everyone wanted to buy into. Their clean-cut image was cleverly orchestrated to appeal to a huge audience, and cynics were quick to speculate that their relationship had been manipulated for the benefit of the press.
I think the relationship between Britney and Justin was completely heartfelt and completely genuine. That's not to say that it was maybe manipulated by certain people to make them both bigger stars.
Well, I think it was a totally manufactured relationship for both their successes. As you see in Hollywood and superstardom a lot, really, there are relationships that are put together for a very good reason, and those reasons are making the almighty dollar.
When the whole Britney-Justin saga was unravelling, he was still this kind of former NSYNC singer drifting around in no man's land. You know, she was the biggest star then, and then she dumped him, and he ironically utterly eclipsed her.
Britney's relationship with Justin was put under close scrutiny by the media. The publicity team behind the child star continued to seduce us with conflicting images of a God-fearing, all-American schoolgirl and a scantily clad sex vixen. They had managed to turn Britney's virginity into a marketable commodity, but for how long could she keep up the tease?
Well, you have to understand the context in which Britney made the big, famous virgin remark. She was raised a good Southern Baptist girl where everyone is taught you're supposed to wait until you're married. And I think she genuinely believed it when she said it. She was a girl who was raised going to church, and that was what you did. I think as she got older and perhaps more sophisticated and more experienced, she regretted having made that statement because everyone invariably brought it up in interviews. And she herself later said, I wish I'd never said that, because the next question is, when does she lose her virginity? It was like the whole world was waiting to see this, and I think, you know, it put a lot of pressure on her, and it wasn't the kind of scrutiny she wanted.
By March 2002, Britney and Justin's 4-year relationship had run its course. Amidst intense speculation about Britney's fidelity, a heartbroken Justin rapidly gained fans as he bared his tormented soul to the world.
After sort of saying, you know, she loved Justin Timberlake, and it had taken her so long to come out with this revelation, and they'd been friends since they were 12, suddenly we started hearing about her alleged infidelity. And Justin was a star then, kind of, you know, coming into his own, and we all started to feel a little bit sorry for him.
So what about you two? I mean, do you two talk about if you're going to be in a movie together or pursue any projects?
I would love to. Yeah, if he would be in a movie with me. I would like that.
Is that an offer? I don't know if that was an offer. Women are so ambiguous.
We're not.
If you look back at Britney Spears' career, it looks like almost everything was carefully orchestrated up until the Justin breakup.
It could be one of those showbiz mysteries that's never solved. Justin's video for Cry Me a River certainly seems to suggest that Britney was unfaithful to him. This has never been confirmed or denied. It's been suggested that Britney had a relationship with a choreographer.
Justin and Britney split up, I believe, because she cheated on him with her choreographer, Wade Robinson. And Justin found out when a bodyguard saw Britney with Wade. I believe Justin was in Japan at the time, and they informed him, and he came back, and I believe that's when they split up.
Britney's alleged infidelity was the beginning of her rebellion against the controlling forces that had groomed her into superstardom. The Britney Spears package that had been sold to thousands of adoring fans had finally started to fall apart.
Britney seemed to spiral downwards following her breakup with Justin Timberlake. You know, both personally, her appearance suffered, her skin looked worse, she was disheveled a lot, she appeared to have been crying or comforting herself with fast food. And professionally, she lost a lot of fans. I think a lot of people liked them as a couple and blamed Britney for the breakup. And, you know, Britney seems to have broken Justin's heart, and she seemed like she was being a slut or whatever. So I think a lot of the fans were upset with her.
Britney's transformation from innocent girl next door to insatiable sex siren happened overnight. Her PR people were desperate to reinvent the star and salvage her image after the messy split from Justin. Britney's song lyrics, dance routines and outfits became increasingly raunchy. And during her 2004 Onyx Hotel tour, many of the younger fans were taken out of the X-rated performance. Was she in danger of losing the fan base that had made her?
I think a lot of parents were concerned, perhaps, when they had 12 and 13-year-old little girls who wanted to bare their midriff like Britney did, or wear some of the outfits that Britney wears. I think she probably was a cause for concern for some of the parents.
she was this carefree American wholesome pop princess, and she suddenly transformed into this raunchy siren with as much cleavage, thigh, body exposure as you possibly could get.
At the MTV Awards in 2003, Britney's sexed-up new image came to a head. Madonna had engineered a publicity stunt whereby she would share a kiss with Britney and her rival Christina Aguilera at the end of the performance. All three knew full well it would make the front pages. However, it was Britney who emerged looking more than just a little out of her depth.
I think Madonna was behind the kiss between her and Britney at the MTV Awards. I think probably Britney, as a lifelong Madonna fan, was thrilled, but I do think it was probably Madonna's idea. It was her set, it was her song, it was her in the middle, passing on her mojo to Christina and Britney.
You can imagine the two of them, can't you, just 10 minutes before the MTV Awards. Right, let's get on the front pages of every single paper in the world. What are we going to do? Tongues out, girls.
I think Christina looked more comfortable with the kiss with Madonna than Britney did. I think Christina's got more of a raunchy image, and I think that is genuinely her. Whereas with Britney, I think she'd kind of started raunching up her image, but I think it was more a result of trying to cut free.
In a desperate bid to gain control of her life, Britney rebelled away from the tight organisation and relentless grooming that she had been subjected to since she was a child. Her attempts to be her own woman, however, involved hedonistic nights out, where she seemed desperate to let go and forget the pressures of her career. Then, in 2003, when Justin's relationship with Cameron Diaz caused a sensation in the tabloids, Britney seemed to go even further off the rails.
Only a little over a year previous, her own parents had divorced after 30 long years of marriage. She then broke up with Justin Timberlake shortly after that. And around that time that she made this union with Jason Alexander, there was an incredible amount of press interest in Justin's new relationship with Cameron Diaz.
Justin and Cameron had gone public as a couple about this time. And I think for Britney, taking it one step further and actually getting married was as much a message to Justin Timberlake as it was a wedding.
For Britney, this may have been very, very distressing for her to see all these images of Justin and Cameron looking so happy together. And she may well have felt, a bit competitive about that. Or she may have been feeling very, very insecure. And this might have led to her rushing into this marriage with Jason Alexander.
On January the 3rd, 2004, after a marathon partying session over the new year, Britney Spears and Jason Alexander arrived at the Little White Chapel in Vegas and prepared to say their vows.
She'd had a big bust-up with her mother just before Christmas that year over partying out late, and her mother didn't know where she was. There was a big stand-up row, and she decided to take herself off with her buddies to Vegas. Jason Alexander was one of these.
Jason Alexander was just this good-looking jock from Kentwood who grew up with Britney and got lucky on a wild weekend and ended up in a chapel getting married in Vegas.
Well, I think it made perfect sense that she went for someone from her hometown. You have to remember, this is following a very public and difficult breakup with Justin Timberlake, who was her first true and real love. Someone from her hometown that knew her, she trusted, someone who knew her before she was Britney Spears, was all very attractive to her.
Yet again, she's turned to a man who knew her before all of the craziness and the celebrity lifestyle began. And she obviously, for that period of time, felt that he was someone she could trust and that she could become intimate with.
We didn't know that she was Britney Spears, and she was very cute, very happy-go-lucky, as well as Jason. However, the first question we asked them is, do you have a marriage license? And they said no. So their limousine driver took them to the marriage bureau. This was about 4 o'clock in the morning, and they picked up their marriage certificate, and they came back. They walked down this aisle. They were happy, and they were nervous, as most couples are, and they didn't stutter, but they did smile, and they did say their I do's very beautifully.
Britney's decision to get married that night seemed to be an extreme gesture of self-defiance. She knew exactly how to get herself on the front pages of the tabloids and used the press to send a message to the world that she was the one in control of her life, although it was rapidly becoming apparent that exactly the opposite was true.
It was a cry for help, in my opinion, and it was also a statement of independence. It certainly woke everybody up to the fact that they couldn't just push her around at this stage in her life.
Hot on the tails of the newlyweds were Britney's mum Lynn and manager Larry Rudolph, who set about putting together a team of lawyers and publicists to ensure Britney's image and her fortune would emerge unscathed.
I did prove to them by my copy of a marriage certificate that they actually did get married here, and that's all they really wanted to know.
Both Larry and Britney's mother, Lynn, were instrumental in Britney getting an annulment in her first marriage, which only lasted for 55 hours, and also in her prenup for her marriage to Kevin Federline. You know, Lynn and Larry are the reason that Britney Spears has any money left today.
The really worrying thing for Britney's mother is she hadn't managed to get a spanner in the works and get a prenup sorted before the wedding. But they did manage to quietly pay him off, and he's a good, loyal Kentwood boy who, you know, took his medicine well.
It seemed as if Britney's mother was now reaping the consequences of her daughter's lost childhood. Lynn Spears had lived out her dreams and aspirations through Britney. She had played a key role in her daughter's rise to fame and had given her the ultimate showbiz education and a taste of what it would be like to be a star.
Britney's mother is an intelligent, articulate woman who had horizons beyond the Deep South, the Southern community. And she's able to realize those horizons through her daughter. And I think it transmitted itself to Britney that she could see a life outside of this very rural community.
I first met Britney Spears at an MTV Awards. She was dressed in a very short little black dress. She was chewing gum, as she loves to do on the red carpet, and my conversation with her was brief. But I will say that what struck me was just how incredibly dumb she seemed to be. I was talking to her, and you know, when you talk to someone and you're thinking, are they understanding this? Are we speaking the same language? Didn't seem to be the brightest bulb.
Feel that way at all? That what now?
That other people... Every parent loves their child, whether it doesn't matter what they've done in their life. But when you've got such a successful child as that, you've got to have controlling parents.
Now she had broken free from the constraints placed upon her by both her parents and her publicity machine, Britney was out there on her own. Did she have what it would take to manage her public image successfully, or was she falling further and further out of her depth? Coming up, Honey, I Dropped the Kids.
You know, it happens to everyone. It's just they haven't got some guy with a camera going, smile!
Britney's love-hate relationship with the Paps, and her rapidly devaluing brand. She has fallen foul of the paparazzi in recent years and has lost control of how she is portrayed in the press. Unable to repeat the success of her early years, Britney has put her career on the back burner and has sought a more normal life away from the limelight. But even as a wife and a mother, she was still going to be under intense scrutiny. Britney Spears took the world by surprise in July 2004 when, aged just 22 years old, she announced her whirlwind engagement to backing dancer Kevin Federline. The couple had met at a nightclub, and it was bold Britney who popped the question to a bemused Kevin.
Britney and Kevin have said that their attraction to each other was immediate, instant, and I think that they did have a great chemistry. I mean, she proposed to him within weeks of meeting him.
Just 3 months later, on the 18th of September, Britney and Kevin tied the knot in a surprise Kabbalah ceremony in the backyard of one of their friends' houses. The wedding had been kept a secret from everyone who was invited in order to avoid press attention. There were rumors that the marriage had been pushed through quickly in order to give People magazine the pricey wedding pictures they'd paid for, and that an official wedding would still need to take place at a later date.
Britney and Kevin must have had the most unromantic wedding in history. The first wedding, the one that was actually covered by all the news media, wasn't a legal wedding at all because she hadn't got her prenup sorted out to the satisfaction of her lawyers. So they pretended to get married for the sake of a $500,000 magazine deal, and then they went through the boring ceremony later.
They decided to have it on the eve of the Emmys because all of the world's press would be focused on the award ceremony and not on a leafy house in the LA suburbs. But even Britney's parents didn't realise they were coming for the wedding. They thought they were coming for an engagement party.
Once trailer trash, always trailer trash. So what sort of theme do they have? You know, as they celebrated the sanctity of marriage? Pimps.
On the night of their wedding, they went out to a club and the whole wedding party were wearing Juicy Couture velour tracksuits. Britney's party had the maids written on the backs and Kevin's party had the pimps.
I think it was tack. I mean, it was French fries, hot dogs and, you know, a shooting gallery with the paparazzi waiting outside of the party afterwards.
Desperate for children and with new hubby Kevin more than happy to oblige, Britney fell pregnant just 8 months into their marriage. Pregnancy seemed to offer Britney the chance to have a break from the pressures of her career.
What we have to remember about Britney Spears is that she's still very, very young. She's only in her mid-20s, and yet what she has fitted into that amount of time, you know, is vast. She's travelled the world, she's been, you know, she's sold millions of records, she's had 2 marriages, you know, and when we look at that, we can obviously begin to see possible reasons from her childhood as to why that might be.
Britney had 2 children very quickly. The first one was obviously planned, and the second one, I don't know whether it was planned or not, but it was very rapid afterwards. So she's a mum of 2, and I'm not sure that Kevin Federline was prepared for that. He's already got 2 kids anyway, so that makes him a dad of 4. He's only young himself. So I'm not sure he was ready to assume the paternal role of a strong family unit. I'm not sure he was capable of doing that.
I don't think Britney intended to have her second child when she did. You know, she was already on the diet and on the treadmill to try to revamp her stalling pop career when she found out she was pregnant again. I think it was probably an accident. I don't think it was Britney's intention to have 2 children so closely together, but as often happens when you're in a marriage or a loving relationship, you fall pregnant. I think in terms of Kevin's future, having 2 children with Britney Spears is certainly going to be more profitable for him than having only 1. And I think the only downside, though, is I think Britney lost a lot of money being out of the spotlight for so long, losing her figure. I think that, you know, her fortune at one time was estimated at $150 million. And after Kevin and the 2 kids, you know, current estimates are something, you know, maybe even $100 million less than that. So she really did take a hard hit financially for those decisions.
Not only were Britney's mistakes hitting her hard financially, but the young mother of 2 was also losing money in terms of the value of her image and how she was pictured in the press.
Britney has obviously made some very public mistakes as a mother. You know, driving without a car seat with your kid in your lap, which is illegal, nearly dropping her son while she's tottering around in high heels and clutching a giant mocha latte. Unfortunately for Britney, it was all caught on camera.
I feel a bit sorry for Britney when people say she's a bad mother. She gets followed around by paparazzis all the time, you know? So, like, you know, she accidentally dropped the baby. I mean, you know, it happens to everyone. It's just they haven't got some guy with a camera going, smile!
We really saw a vulnerable Britney in that photo. And we saw a woman who's having a breakdown.
We all saw the pictures of her sobbing uncontrollably after she nearly dropped Sean Preston on a New York City street. I think that the criticism that she was a bad mother has probably hurt her more than any other criticism she's had in her life.
She seems to have no idea how to use a car seat, and she had a baby in her lap at one point while she was driving, which is really a no-no. I'm sure she's probably not a terrible mother, but it just sort of looked that way for a week. She was asked about it in a TV interview, and she had sort of a very lame excuse for this. She said, well, I'm country. As if that explained why you don't know how to use a car seat.
Having grown up surrounded by paparazzi constantly documenting her every move, Britney seemed oblivious to how her public image might be suffering. In a bid to live a normal life, a naive Britney seemed eager to forget that she was still a celebrity, and was therefore still fair game in the eyes of the unforgiving press.
She's got everything. She's got money, she's got fame, she's got looks, she's got her whole career in front of her. Yet she's probably the most lonely, miserable person on the planet. And all she has is her security guard and the paparazzi.
Britney is a fascinating soap opera. I mean, who seriously listens to Britney Spears records? No one. Who enjoys reading about Britney Spears? Everyone.
Lots of people would say that with the route Britney's taken, she's got her priorities absolutely right. I mean, she's found herself a husband, she's got 2 children, she's kind of not cared what she's looked like in front of the camera. I mean, in a way, all those things that that we look at in celebrities that we hate, you know, the way they always look perfect, the way they're always kind of loved by the camera, Britney's the absolute antidote to that.
But in Los Angeles, on any given day, you would probably have anywhere between 15 and 20 photographers doorstepping each of her gates in and out of her LA estate. I mean, because she sells in every country in the world. In fact, I think she's photographed more today and more since she stopped being on the stage than when she was on the stage.
Britney Spears has more paparazzi following her in LA than anybody, I would say. And she is pretty good about it most of the time and just lets them get on with it.
It was virtually impossible for her not occasionally to be pictured looking rough. Literally, it was 24-hour surveillance.
But it was this inability to control where and when she would be photographed and her lack of interest in her image that was causing irreparable damage.
I mean, I remember the first pictures when we saw her, you know, in the old juicy tracksuit with the G-string popping out and the hair all over the place and all spotty and horrible, with a can of Coke and a burger in one hand. And it was just, I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Britney just seemed to stop caring about what she looked like. She started wearing these kind of baby doll dresses and just piling her hair up, and she didn't really wear any makeup, she didn't wear bras, she was always just like sucking on a frappuccino or smoking. And I think her image had a massive crisis around this time.
Britney's background was obviously as a dancer, and if you think back to her first video, she looks amazing, you know, with her little school shirt tied under her boobs, showing off her toned tummy. So the transformation's been remarkable, really, from that to the kind of slummy mummy that she appeared as kind of during her pregnancies.
I think Britney let herself go, both in terms of her weight and also her skin and her hair and really everything. In part because I think she was so enjoying not thinking about her career for 5 minutes.
I would think any person would care, especially Britney, whether or not her photo was being taken, especially when she's not looking put together and well. But I think there's just so much going on in her life right now that that's not her top priority, and really she couldn't care less. And she should be mindful because she is in the public eye, yeah, but does she care? No. So good for her.
The unkempt Britney has provided pages worth of pictures to fill the tabloids on a daily basis. And whilst the value of photographs depicting her looking her worst continues to rise, the value of her brand as a pop star is in sharp decline.
The value of pictures of any superstar that's putting on weight, has a premium price all around the world because every woman in the world wants to see it. For that matter, a lot of blokes want to see it too. And especially coming from such a sex symbol. Anything where it be, you know, cellulite or being ultra skinny, we're all prying into these people's lives and we all want to find out why. So those pictures, command a premium price all the time.
She doesn't understand that how you look is as important as your talent today. Image is very, very important. It's a crucial commodity, and she doesn't seem to get that.
If you're going to do an interview on national television, get a makeup person, get a hair person, get a stylist. You know, you only have so many shots at this. Don't screw it up.
The pictures of a spotty Britney with matted hair extensions are a far cry from when she first made an impact on the music scene as a teenage sex symbol with a body to die for. In the summer of 1998, after one shopping mall tour in Massachusetts, Britney managed to pose for photographs and chat with over 300 families in only 25 minutes. The pressure was on, and the Britney Spears PR machine was unstoppable.
There's no question that Britney Spears, well, particularly Britney Spears' mother and manager, had a lot to do with Britney's image, you know, when she first burst onto the pop scene. Announcing that she was a virgin, that she planned to wait till she was married, but at the same time, being more and more provocative in her outfits and her dance moves. This was all a carefully strategized plan.
At the beginning, I don't think Britney had a lot of control over her image. There was definitely someone in the background that knew what they were doing, knew what was going to appeal to the mass audience. Because as well as appealing to young girls, she's still appealing to like guys that would think, oh, you know, she's like cute and sexy.
At the age of just 20, Britney became the best-selling female artist during any one-week period in music history. The teen singing sensation could do no wrong, and major brands such as Sunglasses Hut, Elizabeth Arden and Tommy Hilfiger were scrabbling to sign her up. In early 2001, she was given the ultimate chance to appear in a megabucks Pepsi commercial.
Pepsi are prepared to pay big money, but only for big stars. And the fact that she's joining a roster of people in the past that have advertised Pepsi, like Beyonce, like Michael Jackson, like David Beckham, shows that at that moment in time she was a big celebrity, and that was why she was able to command such a big amount of money for putting her name to the Pepsi brand.
It's been speculated that she earned £63,000 a second for the Pepsi commercial that she shot that was shown during the Super Bowl.
What Britney has always been good at is capitalising on the opportunities. I don't think she could command that sort of money today.
A number of bad decisions over her management and poor PR have resulted in Britney's demise in popularity. Her lack of care over how she is portrayed in the press and a growing disparity between her and her audience has meant that she will find it hard to re-establish a new fan base if she tries to make a comeback.
From the outside, it would appear that Britney took her eye off the career track and focused on her personal life.
I think ultimately Britney herself is responsible for letting her public guard down. With all the best advisors in the world, if you are the one making the decisions to get rid of those people or to not have them in your life, then you're leaving yourself open and vulnerable to whatever else is going to come at you. When she was with Kevin Federline, she let go her manager, who she'd been with since she was 13. And so if you haven't got that kind of support, then she is going to be making a lot more emotional decisions.
When Britney was at her peak, her appeal was mass market appeal. She had a young girl following, a young guy following. She was a successful musician and people bought her records because they liked her, they bought into her brand. These young girls, especially who were her core fans, have grown up with her, and as she's got older and gone through her life, so have they. The danger is that these girls now don't want to relate themselves to Britney as a single mum who's going through a pretty hard time in her life. They're going to look for the next, younger, fresher-faced, all-American dream.
The question is now, what fans does she have left? Who would be buying her music when she makes her comeback? I mean, it's just a really hard question to answer because you don't know where things are going to go for her next.
Coming up, Britney faces the ultimate exposure.
She's learned a lot of lessons through the press. She's had so many incidents with the press. But she's never been I don't think she's been a press hater. She's been frustrated by the constant attention, as anyone would be.
And can she ever come back from the edge? Britney Spears, once a multi-million-dollar superstar capable of topping the charts across the world. She hasn't released a record for over 3 years, and it's been her personal life rather than her career that has been feeding a Britney-hungry press.
Britney Spears, I think, was a phenomenon. I mean, she just burst on the scene when she was like 16 or something and had tremendous success, top 10 hits. And, you know, now she's gotten older, she's gotten married, divorced. Now she's a mother of 2, and she's struggling.
Britney has undervalued how much her success rides on her image and the way she presents herself to the public. In 2002, Forbes magazine named Britney the most powerful celebrity in the world, a far cry from where she is today.
Doing absolutely nothing artistically in the entire year of 2006, Britney Spears has been probably the most publicized celebrity of the year, which isn't bad considering she hasn't done anything.
In 2006, Britney didn't earn anything. So that really surprised us. She wasn't doing any movies, she wasn't doing any records, she wasn't doing any endorsement deals. The bulk of her money was made back in 2001 and 2002. That's when she had her highest selling albums. That's when, you know, Oops, I Did It Again and Hit Me Baby One More Time. That's that era. Since then, really haven't seen much from her. Her last album didn't do so well. She did a remix album back in 2005. So her earning potential has kind of passed. However, she had an incredibly good 2 years. So in total, since she hit the scene back in 2000, she's made an estimated fortune of $100 million.
Britney may not be able to repeat her former success. However, we were teased with a promising comeback in December 2006. On her 25th birthday, a newly single and revamped Britney emerged, making a spectacular appearance at Mr. Chow's in LA, where she showed off her new figure, new friends, and new underwear.
She made a point of showing off her rear end at Mr. Chow's, where she knew the paparazzi could shoot her and could get her bum and could get her figure. And she's dancing, and God knows, you know, what she's thinking, but she definitely wants to be photographed.
I'm single. I haven't been having much fun being married to Kevin, so now I need to go out and sow some wild oats. And who better to sow wild oats with than Paris Hilton?
The night at Mr. Chow's marked the beginning of a new but short-lived flirtation between Britney and the publicity-savvy Paris Hilton. Paris and Britney were spotted together on numerous occasions in LA and Las Vegas, and they made sure they were photographed having wild nights out, swapping clothes and losing their underwear.
Britney's friendship with Paris gives Paris a lot of status, but it doesn't do much for Britney. If anything, it drags her down.
For her, it was a good chance to get back out there. It just backfired in the sense that she's just not PR savvy enough to know how to handle getting back out there. And maybe in that little world, the idea of hanging out with Paris Hilton is seen as something positive. The rest of the world sees it as you're clearly, you know, out of your marriage and out of control now.
Britney looked trashy and out of control next to a coolly composed Paris, and her promise of a glamorous comeback fell far short of what we had been led to expect. Her PR strategy was crude and involved nothing more sophisticated than provocatively flashing parts of her body in order to get attention.
People were really rooting for her. I think that was the really sad thing that happened. I mean, I was rooting for her. It seemed like she might be sort of coming out of it and she was going to rise above, and even though she had these 2 kids by this horrible greasy man, she was going to sort of put it all by the wayside and sort of reinvent herself like a phoenix rising out of the ashes, and then that just totally didn't happen at all. And she lost a lot of people's sympathies. There was sort of this like hope that she gave them, and then she sort of took it all away and overexposed herself. It's kind of amazing how fast things changed for her.
Britney was on a downward spiral. The train wreck she had become was gaining momentum, and the world looked on in horror as she finally crashed. Britney's success at the peak of her career was phenomenal, and it's unlikely that she will ever reach that kind of status again. After such a spectacular fall at the age of just 25, it remains to be seen whether she has the power to recover and reinvent herself. What will the next chapter be in the Britney Spears soap opera? And what will it take for the Britney we all know and love to make a successful comeback?
People just really, really want her to get better. We want the old Britney back, and we want to see her coming out strong and sort of with a new album and new records and interviews and looking fantastic, because that's how we remember her.
I think Britney has what it takes to make the most amazing comeback. You can't keep a good girl down for long. She has a brilliant work ethic. She's worked since being a very young girl on the Mickey Mouse Club. So, you know, that doesn't just leave somebody overnight. Britney needs to lose weight, grow the hair back, and, you know, get some great producers, and, you know, she's laughing.
The question remains, will her fans have moved on in the time that she was away? And the big challenge for her is either to win them back or to appeal to a new generation of younger Britney fans that perhaps didn't know her 3-4 years ago when she was at the peak of her career.
Everyone likes to see a comeback, especially when you're someone who everyone used to be in love with, then you had, you know, a disaster, you let yourself go, you married the wrong guy, all those things. People love a story like that, and I think the world wants to see it, and I believe it will happen.
I think that the comeback is going to be massive, and it won't be long before this kind of episode will not be forgotten, but it won't be such big news anymore, and she'll definitely always be a big star, and I can't wait till her comeback personally.